America is a land of diversity, a nation that has always valued the principles of religious freedom and respect for the rights of all people, regardless of race or faith. And our nation's sense of justice and equality is reflected in CAIR's mission and vision. In Texas, when 14-year-old Ahmed Mohammed was taken from his school in handcuffs merely because he brought a homemade clock to class, CAIR was there to support Ahmed as outrage over his unjust treatment spread, even to the White House.
My name is Alia Salem, and I'm here to introduce to you Ahmed Mohammed and his family and his legal representation.
The clear understanding that this would not have happened to somebody who wasn't named Ahmed Mohammed, who didn't have a brown skin, who wasn't of Sudanese heritage.
Justice prevailed when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of Samantha Aloof, a Muslim woman who sought to wear a religious headscarf as an employee of Abercrombie & Fitch. Aloof's case began when she reported the company's discriminatory actions to CAIR's Oklahoma chapter. As we witnessed that legal victory, our community also saw increased civic and political empowerment, another part of CAIR's mission, in the form of the first ever Unified National Muslim Advocacy Day on Capitol Hill, which was sponsored and coordinated by CAIR's staff. Some 280 delegates from more than 20 states met with elected officials and staffers in 200 congressional offices, 1/3 of the House of Representatives, and almost half of the Senate.
Our Advocacy Day agenda focused on issues of education, social justice, and equality. We're not only empowering our community, we're empowering all communities in this nation.
The past year also saw recognition for CAIR's interfaith outreach, which is part of our mission to enhance understanding of Islam. CAIR Board Chair Rula Alouche was invited to address participants in the first ever Jumu'ah prayer held at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. The Los Angeles Times named CAIR National Executive Director Nahad Awad as one of the nation's new civil rights leaders. He was listed along with a number of other civil rights activists in the newspaper's coverage marking the 50th anniversary of the historic March on Selma. CAIR's civil rights work is increasingly being recognized by leaders of minority and civil rights organizations.
SALT has had the privilege of working with CAIR on several occasions, particularly around our policy and legislative work. And in the South Asian community in particular, we aim to support all of the religious groups within our community, including Muslims. And in particular, CAIR has been a very strong ally and leader in the work around racial profiling.
With increased effectiveness and successes come new challenges. The past year also saw the rise of the twin evils of extremism in the Muslim world and of Islamophobia in America. When Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson said there should never be a Muslim in the White House, CAIR took the lead in challenging his unconstitutional views.
And we ask Mr. Ben Carson to withdraw from the presidential race because he's unfit to lead, because his views are in contradiction with the United States Constitution.
Part of CAIR's proactive response to Ben Carson's bigotry included distribution of copies of the Quran to Americans so they could read about Islam from its source, and the response was encouraging.
I wanted to write and thank you for the absolutely beautiful Quran. This is a high-quality book that we could likely not afford to buy, and I am happy to include it in our library.
In Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 3 of our community's best and brightest were murdered execution style by a man who had harassed the victims in the past and expressed anti-Muslim views. A CAIR delegation traveled to North Carolina to help the community respond to the tragedy and to begin the healing process. In states nationwide, we witnessed growing efforts to target or exclude American Muslims. A number of businesses went so far as to declare themselves Muslim-free zones, and CAIR responded with legal and educational initiatives.
Well, the scary thing about Muslim-free zones is it's just a new form of segregation, and we can't afford in the year 2015 to allow segregation to rear its ugly head again.
In Tennessee, a man was arrested for plotting to massacre New York Muslims. In Kansas City, a 15-year-old Muslim was murdered when he was run down by a vehicle that had once been painted with anti-Islam slurs. Nationwide, we saw a disturbing rise in anti-Muslim sentiment and incidents, including an armed rally outside an Arizona mosque.
This is a public safety issue. This is Islamophobia taking things to the next level in terms of rhetoric, going into the realm of violence and, gun culture.
The Islamophobia movement this year has spiked tremendously. We've seen within the past year a tremendous increase in the level of anti-Muslim sentiment in our society. In fact, I just saw a poll that came out that said 40% of Republican voters in North Carolina would make Islam illegal in America. When you have that level of Islamophobia, it should be of concern to not only all American Muslims, but to all Americans, because it damages our society.
CAIR detailed all these incidents and incitements in briefing papers and in a new Islamophobia.org website, designed to be a resource for those seeking information on the growing phenomenon of anti-Muslim hate.
We launched Islamophobia.org for two main reasons. One, accountability. People who are bigots, everybody should know about it. Two, when Islamophobia comes to your neighborhood, we wanted you to have access to facts, ideas, information that'll help you push back against it.
In response to the extremism of ISIS, CAIR, along with the Fiqh Council of North America, and national and local Muslim scholars and leaders, coordinated the release of an open letter signed by more than 120 international scholars of Islam and Muslim leaders, refuting that terror group's ideology of the terrorist group ISIS and urging its supporters to repent. CAIR also tackled the issue of countering violent extremism and offered strategies that would not stigmatize American Muslims and ignore rising right-wing extremism in our nation. CAIR's actions in support of justice were not limited to the Muslim community. We were actively involved in the Black Lives Matter movement and in support of police accountability, whether in Ferguson, Baltimore, or in Cleveland, following the shooting of 12-year-old Tamir Rice.
I consider the work of reforming police departments in this country and the Black Lives Matter movement really as part of the unfulfilled, unfinished civil rights work of the great civil rights era. And I think it's only natural for the Council on American Islamic Relations to be intricately involved in the Black Lives Matter movement.
We cannot expect people to come to our defense and to be on our side unless we show that we have been on their side, we believe in their cause, and we are champions of justice for them and for us.
CAIR also stood with the Sikh, Christian, and Jewish communities when they were targeted by hate, including when 9 worshipers were gunned down in a South Carolina church.
The Dallas-Fort Worth chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations held a candlelight vigil remembering the 9 victims murdered when a man opened fire inside an AME church.
To strengthen CAIR's civil rights and advocacy work and to enhance Muslim civic engagement, we expanded Muslim youth leadership programs nationwide and launched the Muslim Game Changers Network, a comprehensive 4-month social justice training program for Muslim high school students.
To strengthen CAIR's civil rights and advocacy work and to enhance Muslim civic participation, CAIR has expanded our Muslim youth leadership programs across the nation. The purpose of these programs is to allow Muslim youth an opportunity to meet with state lawmakers, to learn more about the legislative process, and to develop critical skills that they need in order for them to become the future leaders of tomorrow.
My message to Muslim children nationwide: you have the right to dream like everyone else. You have an equal space in America. You have an equal opportunity. Build clocks, invent, be all you can be as an American Muslim. And CAIR is not going to allow anyone to crush your dreams. and you have the full potential like everyone else because you're an American and because you're Muslim. And think of CAIR if you need help. We are there to help you.
To spread the word about our work, we also expanded our social media outreach platforms such as Periscope, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
What's really exciting about the work that CAIR does in the era of technology that we're in right now is how many different ways there are to get our message out. Whether it is sharing a news clip or original Know Your Rights content or talking about events or building coalitions and encouraging Muslim community members to attend ally events.
With new successes, challenges, outreach, and coalition building came statements of support and encouragement from community leaders, scholars, and academics.
You need to have an organization that is not only out there for you, but one that has the kind of track record that CAIR has built up, so that when CAIR calls, whether it's a government agency or wherever, people know that they need to make a response.
CAIR is an ideal facilitator in bringing together diverse voices and different activists simply because CAIR is viewed to be the most active and the most respective national platform.
Injustice is fought with justice and mercy. And that's what this organization is here for, and that's what we stand for, and that's what we should continue to support. And I'm a huge CAIR supporter. I'm unashamed about it. I love this organization. It is the pride and dignity of our community.
CAIR is our voice in the halls of Capitol Hill to make sure that legislators understand what are the issues that are impacting us, but also what are the solutions.
CAIR is one of those vehicles where the story gets out and people understand what's happening to others who are less fortunate or who don't know how to navigate the system to get justice.
You've heard about the work that CAIR does across the country to protect the rights and interests of the American Muslim community. You've heard about our work in the civil rights arena, combating Islamophobia, speaking out on behalf of the community and the media. And now we're asking you to join us in the effort, work with us, and support the work that's being done by CAIR so that we can continue to protect the rights and interests of our community.